You've achieved something you always wanted. You finally got it. And what happened? You don't feel any different. Why? When achievement feels hollow, it's a really good sign that something in your life is missing. And it can be a moment to reflect on how you've been living so far and what you can do to bring back that feeling of meaning and of connection to yourself and that something is happening. Because it's absolutely miserable when you go and do something that you think will make you happy and it doesn't. So let's take a look at this. We'll start with seeing where this feeling of I'm not satisfied with anything I achieve, why doesn't it fulfill me, comes from. And it comes from a few places. The first is that this is kind of how we are biologically hardwired. We have evolved such that it is beneficial for us to constantly feel scarce. A person who, back in caveman days, was totally happy with what he had might get blindsided. A person who strolled around thinking that the world was safe might get eaten by the saber-toothed tiger because it's better to think that something bad is there and to be wrong and for there to be nothing than to not even think there's something bad there and to get eaten. And it's a similar thing when it comes to our achievement and our happiness. It is better, it is more evolutionarily helpful to constantly be looking at the next thing rather than being content with what we have. But the problem with this is that it turns our life into just constant survival. We're just surviving to get the next thing rather than enjoying the fruits of what we've done, which might be extremely plentiful already. And then from a social lens, we may well have been conditioned, deliberately or not, but certainly the culture that we live in conditions us for this, and our parents might have reinforced this, or our school or our work might reinforce this, to believe that what who we are is what we achieve, that our self-worth depends on our achievement. And that's a really difficult place to be. Because when your self worth depends on achievement, your self worth doesn't come internally, it comes from other people. And we can't control other people. And we can't even necessarily control the outcomes of all of our actions. And so when we've been conditioned to believe that if I get good grades, I'm a good person. If I have a good job, I'm better than other people. If I earn more money than you, I'm superior to you. When we have these beliefs, we tie ourselves to things that are ultimately outside of us. And when our sense of self worth is tied outside of us, we become miserable, we suffer. And that's not to say again that it can't be a useful driver because it can. Needing external approval can be a brilliant driver to get things done. But it's ultimately dissatisfying. And you can tell it's dissatisfying for a few ways. One of the main symptoms is this hollow feeling that you have when you've achieved something. It might make you happy for a little while, but ultimately that goes away, and it goes away quite quickly. And it's shocking how quickly actually it goes away because your mind just constantly goes to the next thing. Oh, I achieved this quarter? Great, let's do next quarter. Oh, I completed this project? Great, let's do next project. And it's endless because there is always something that you can have next. Another symptom is this social comparison. How much do you care about other people recognizing that you've achieved this thing? And of course, people's attention is fleeting. So you may have a win this week, but it's old news by next week. No one really cares. And recognizing that social comparison drives how we feel about ourselves is another key symptom here. Another symptom of this can look like I'm always moving the goalposts. It's an I'll be happy when, I'll be content when, I'll let myself rest when. But that when you actually get the thing never arrives, and you're always just trying to strive for something else. And then a final sign is that you don't have an internal cheerleader. You don't have someone who goes, well done, inside you. when you achieve something. You don't let yourself the satisfaction of feeling good that you've accomplished something. And you don't use that as motivation. You just focus on the next thing that you don't have. And all combined, these symptoms give that hollow feeling and make achievement feel worthless and dissatisfying. Ultimately, it comes down to a core belief. And that core belief is if I stop achieving, I'm worthless. And that belief drives a few fears. If I'm not productive, everything's going to fall apart. If I'm not trying my best, I'm just going to be lazy. If I don't grip constantly and tightly, I'm not going to be in control and things aren't going to get done. If I don't have a fancy title, if I don't earn this much money, people aren't going to respect me. And there can be some truth to those beliefs, but you have to parse out the difference between useful life planning and having inherent beliefs that make you miserable and that don't need to be there. From this fear, the solution can seem quite radical and terrifying. But here it is. What if you already had everything you needed? And this can look like it in two ways. The first is recognizing everything you've already achieved, rather than focusing on the gap between where you are and your ideal goal. You focus on where you are and what you've achieved to get there. Because that's tangible and it's real and it's brilliant motivation for the fact that you can achieve, you are competent, and it's done, it's completed, it's tangible. And you deserve to rest and respect yourself within that. And also, it stops you from falling into this horrible deficiency, which is not a great place to create abundance from. And then taking that a step further, you can use this mindset to recognize that life is not perfect. But what if genuinely you already had enough? What if you already have a wonderful place to live? What if you already have a wonderful partner, a wonderful family, a great job, excellent friends, enjoyable colleagues? What if you already had enough? You have your health, or enough of your health. You have your vitality, or enough vitality. That can feel terrifying because it completely goes against that wiring of I must survive, I must survive, I must survive. And if I'm satisfied, I'll die and I'll fall behind. Just because you believe that you have enough doesn't mean that you're going to stop and be lazy. And you can't know this until you try it. And so I encourage you to try it. And every fiber of your being might resist you. And that's okay. This is completely different to how you've ever lived your life. But how you've lived your life so far has left you feeling hollow about everything you've achieved. And so I'm offering the solution. And the solution is gratitude, a- acceptance of what you have. And like I say, there's two tangible ways of doing this. You can recognize your achievements that you've already had, and you can practice daily gratitude for what you have. Thank you for the train that took me to work. Thank you for my partner who made me lunch. Thank you for the money that I've earned that's been able to buy me this dinner when I go out, or been able to provide groceries for my kids. It's having gratitude in those small things. And you'd be surprised that this doesn't take away your motivation. It just puts your motivation in a healthier place. And then when you do finally achieve your next big achievement, it won't feel as hollow because you'll be able to feel it. You'll be able to go, wow, I did that. And you'll be able to be grateful for all the things that helped you achieve it. And you'll be able to measure that as part of your success that will get you to your ideal future goal. If you've made it this far, then thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, then please hit like and subscribe. Take care, and I will see you again soon.